Today we're visiting the impeccably curated California condo of Joshua Murphy and Jarrod Thomson. The vintage dealers and co-founders of One Good Eye fell in love with their Long Beach neighborhood, but knew the condo they wanted needed a full-scale renovation.
There were upper cabinets before that came down actually most of the way, so it really blocked this area off and it was really closed. So first thing we did was remove those to open it. And then once we had it and it was open, it still felt a little awkward on the other side. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a breakfast bar, but it's not. So we're like, what do we do with the space? And then Joshua had the idea to be like, let's put shelving there and display some things.
They combined their distinct design styles to ensure their space felt sophisticated and intentional, the perfect backdrop for their collection of found items.
These little guys we found, they're these little African dancers, and I just saw them and we were like, yes, we absolutely have to have them. I like the style of him with his little horns. He makes me very, very happy.
In this episode, they share their tips for renovating their standout pieces.
We had been looking for a dog like this for years. The hunt started in New York and went so on and so on. We looked online and never found the right kind of ceramic dog. Some of them were the wrong color. They had a pedestal base. Their tongue was sticking out. So Josh was actually holding River like he is now, and he almost dropped him because he was so shocked when he saw him.
And their thrifting insights. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Jarrod, and welcome to our home in Long Beach.
Come on in. Hi, I'm Joshua Murphy. I'm a co-founder of One Good Eye.
And I'm Jarrod Thomson. I'm a digital marketer, also co-founder of One Good Eye, and we're here at our home in Long Beach, California. So I grew up in this area, and we've been here roughly 2 years now. We lived in New York for a while, moved here during the pandemic, and we used to bring our dogs walking in this area because I love this area. I wanted to show him this area. He's from London, and we just fell in love with it, especially this street. So we would walk up and down the street all the time, and one day saw this listing and just jumped on it.
Yeah, the street came first. We wanted to live on the street first and walked up and down, and I was like, I'm living on the street. I don't know how, but I'm gonna live on the street. When we first got this place, we were walking up and down the street, decided on the street first, saw the listing organically, even though looking on real estate apps and looking online, this condo that we're in now actually was not listed because it was not marketed correctly. So when I walked past it, I figured, well, it must just be way too much money or something like that, because how would I not have seen this? We got a viewing. It looked completely different to how it does now, covered in stuff, mismatched flooring everywhere. The floor plan was a little bit different. It just was a little bit of a hodgepodge. The building itself is 50 years old. And there's some quirks to even the way it's built, like uneven windows, things we can't change because it's a condo. So we've had to come in and not only straighten out the flooring, take away the sort of bizarre choices in all respect to whoever lived here before. We've had to try and like hide and patch over things that we cannot change, which has been a frustrating at first, but actually turned into kind of a fun challenge, because now we point these things out to people when they come here and they're like, oh, I never would have known that. And we're like, well, job well done.
Even our neighbors that have the same floor plan come in and they're like, oh my God, I didn't think of that, so.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to our entryway. This is the first thing that you see when you enter our home. Like I said, I really was so excited when I saw that we had a wall here when we first looked here. I always have wanted to display art, have fresh flowers, a candle, and I like that when you first walk in, because living in small homes my whole life, you walk in and you often just walk directly into a room. We found this suite thrifted. Yep. It's clearly not a real Rothko. And it came in a shadow frame, because it is on a canvas. And I think it was either really bright white.
It was bright white.
It was bright white. So we painted it the same color as the wall, which is also what we did on all of the trim. We did gloss on the trim and eggshell on all the walls. We love black and white stripes. That's something we do actually both agree on because we have very different styles and everything. So we have a bowl full of them.
And also the only color that I really do like is red, which is why we have this bright red piece of art here.
Yes. So I just had to try and work color into the house somehow. And obviously it's like we both have to be happy. So we looked at a ton of stuff. We thought about having a mirror here. And when we saw this, we were like, it takes up the space so perfectly. So we just loved it. This console came from, this has lived in 4 places with us, I think.
Yep.
We have moved it around. It's getting chipped, it's getting dented, it's going nowhere. I love it so much. It's from West Elm,
CB2.
I believe. Oh, it's from CB2, like forever and ever and ever ago.
2017.
Yeah, the year we got married, 2017. So we love that. This guy here, I absolutely am obsessed with. We found him in Palm Springs at a antique vintage store called Stewart Galleries, which we always check out whenever we're there. We saw him, we knew we had to have him. We had him before we got this home, so he's lived in 2 homes with us now. We just put him on some books, a little pop of red just to match, to tie in with the artwork. We sometimes have orchids here. Some kind of flower arrangement is happening here. We decided for red again because we're allowed one color. Yeah, we always have something burning right here. It's also great because we have all this storage. If we can use the whole console as like a catch-all if we have to. So this I'm just thrilled about. Okay, so this is the front door that you enter through. So we had this kind of boxed in thing here. We did not put this here. The molding was here. We have painted it all. And we just wanted to do something a little bit different here. So we did a silver wallpaper on the ceiling. We changed out our peephole. And yeah, this was kind of like a blue glittery tile when we moved in. Very bizarre. So we got rid of that. So now everything just flows a little bit better. When you walk in, what this condo has that I have never had before and always wanted is you walk in and there's a little entryway. It isn't walled in, but you walk in and there is just a wall. And it was just a blank wall. There was nothing on it. There was just stuff sort of leaning up against it like clutter. And we have always wanted to have an entryway where you could walk in and there would be like a beautiful piece of art or a beautiful mirror. In our case, we have put a credenza and a piece of art. And we always have fresh flowers there, and it's just really a nice experience to walk into and immediately see something beautiful. So that is how you enter. To the left is the dining area, which we have changed because it has become half office, which we have done we've built them away and hidden them, because when we were renting prior to living here, Jarrod actually had a full office. So that was something we had to give up, and we had to get creative with that. So by moving the light fixture over and moving where the dining area sort of would have been, we've created this room for built-ins, which we've just tried to make it look like a bookcase. There could easily be a bar in there. It could be like a pantry or something like that. It is actually Jarrod's office tucked away in there. That then connects to the kitchen, which is still in the same place, but the configuration of the kitchen is completely different. We are sitting in the living room, which is to the right of the entryway when you walk in, which leads out to a terrace. From this room, there is a hallway that leads to 2 bedrooms and the guest bathroom. And with the kitchen and dining area, there was 3 separate eating areas when we came here within like 150 or 200 square feet.
There was the dining room, the breakfast bar, and then an eat-in kitchen.
Yeah.
And so we were like, there's no need for this. So we kind of redid it, took over the kitchen and made the kitchen a fully usable space. I love to cook, so that was like a priority for me.
But also we're city people, so we order. So like we don't.
We cook on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
We cook. He cooks really well on them days. Yeah.
That's it. And then like the breakfast bar, it was enclosed almost all the way down with overhead cabinets. So we removed those to open it up and to put shelving to display art and pieces of just amazing stuff that we find. So that's now a little display area. And then we have a full dining table where we can actually sit and eat.
And more kitchen storage than I've ever had, for sure. Like there is so much kitchen storage. We actually took away almost all of the upper cabinets just to make it feel a little bit more open and a bit more stylized, because it is a condo. It isn't 5,000 square feet, like we want everything to look beautiful. And so that's another thing that before you see it, when we tell people we took away almost all of the uppers apart from a, what would you call it, where all of our glasses are?
It's like a hutch, I guess.
Apart from the hutch that we sort of set up on top of one of the counters, and the fridge, there's some cabinets above there. We took everything else away because trying to explain to people just how much storage space we actually have in this kitchen. The thing that I have found, this is our first time being homeowners, because it is not a single family home on our own lot, we cannot go crazy and start knocking walls down left, right, and center, which I would love to do, because the building might collapse. And we live in Southern California, and there are earthquakes, and we found out that we have a massive, what's called a shear wall, going through the middle of the condo. So we planned on taking that down, and they were like, well, it might look nice until there is a big earthquake. So
when we first moved in, we had wanted to open this all up back here behind us and just completely open the space, and then we learned that it's just not possible. So we worked with it.
So we have kind of like a strangely large kitchen, square footage that if given the option, I might put somewhere else, but that's what we have. And so we've made the best of it. And now I don't know how we'd have a smaller kitchen because we have all this storage, and it's great. So directly off of our entryway is our dining area that then leads into our kitchen, but right here is our dining area.
So you come over here, this, like I said before, was just the main dining area with a breakfast bar over there. We closed that up and put the shelves in to display some of our pieces. We pushed the light back this way so we could do a banquet against the window. This long, beautiful sculptural dining table, a big oval to host a lot of people, which we don't really host that much, but we should host more. We replaced the light fixture. It was like I don't remember what it was before. Was it just like a?
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't great.
But it's been two light. This is the second light option.
This is the second light we've had. We
replaced it, and that's a thing with us. We joke that we have to redo everything at least twice before we're happy. Mm-hmm. So this is the second one. Now we're really happy. And then these are the built-ins that we spoke about. So this was just a blank wall. These are the closet pieces from IKEA, which we just, didn't put the doors on all of it, pushed it in, fitted against the wall, wallpapered behind it, and then, sanded it down and painted it with the high gloss. Behind these doors is my office. So when I get up in the morning, I will open these up, pull my chair over there, and just work from there. Won't open it because it's a little messy because I put a lot of stuff away. And then, these shelves are just great to display more of our books and found pieces. Like I mentioned earlier, these are the hardware pieces that we love, that I fell in love with. These brass knobs. This is like a knurled brass. So I saw this and I was like, I absolutely have to have these. So throughout the whole home, you'll see them. All of our outlets are from the same company. I am absolutely in love with them. And then over here, just some fun pieces that we've collected along the way. Once again, tons of books. For example, my cousin, her wife, just took over a nursery in South Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, my bad. And she put together, this book that just showcases like the history and the flowers and everything from this nursery. So it was pretty great. So just one of our pieces we have. Long Beach every month has the antique market, so we find pieces there. We found this like amazing figure of this woman, and this is kind of my thing. I just love that type of art, so we found her, and actually I haven't given her a name yet. I do normally like to name all my pieces, but she doesn't have a name. These little guys we found, they're these little African dancers, and I just saw them and we were like, yes, we absolutely have to have them. I like the style of him with his little horns. He makes me very, very happy. This book we found when we were with Brian in Pasadena. And you know, it's a James Joyce novel, but we were just like, oh, J&J for Joshua and Jarrod, which then I got tattooed on my finger. You know, just cute little romantic things. Yeah, but just tons of cool pieces, lots of books. I'm into a lot of, you know, fashion, so we have like a lot of designers' books here, as well as other interior designers.
We also have a pug statue down there, which is very special to me because my childhood dog was a pug, so I'm very sentimental like that, and I like to have things that remind me of him.
As we mentioned, we do everything twice. These chairs we actually had in a different color. They were a darker, what's called like mink color, and we were like, nope, that's too dark, it doesn't work. So we actually traded them in and got them in a lighter color. Similar to these shelves, they were actually high gloss black with like a silvery wallpaper behind them, and we decided that wasn't it. We wanted to do a banquette back here to make it really comfortable. So we bought this banquette and then we reupholstered it because the color it wasn't quite right. So we did that ourselves. And in our own natural fashion, just this week we were looking at other banquettes to possibly put here. So we'll see how much longer this one lasts before we swap it out again.
But this one is so comfy. I mean, it's like if you take the cushions off, 2 people could sleep here. It's so comfortable, which is so lovely for a dining room.
We have completely different styles, and I'll have to say, you know, like our combined style and what we both agree on, I love, but I think if either of us lived here on our own or weren't together, we'd have completely different styles. Like, I'm not a fan of color. I am very much into brutalism, you know, minimalism, just clean, hard lines. Like when we lived in New York, one of my favorite pieces of furniture we had that we sold was like this concrete dining table with concrete benches, had a concrete coffee table. I also had this amazing concrete desk in my office at the last place we had. It was just, you know, no color, very hard. I'm all about looks and not comfort, where he's a little bit different.
I want to be comfortable all day. I wear pajamas basically every day.
And he's like a maximalist, pattern, print, color.
Yeah, I want to live like Gloria Vanderbilt. That's who I want to be. I want everything patterned, everything colorful, everything, well, not everything colorful, but definitely I like warmth and coziness. I also think growing up in London in a very, you know, very, very small quarters, our houses are all pushed together, and you know, it's wet and cold a lot of the time. So when you come home from a long day out, having your home be cozy is just like so important. Having like really comfortable bedding, really beautiful linens everywhere, keeping everything looking really, really clean, because you know, you're on the UK subway system, the tube and trains and that all day. So I come home every single day completely unchanged, because I spent most of my life on public transportation. I don't like sitting on things in my outdoor clothes, and having everything just like be a really soft place to land. I think also that comes from living in a city that's so, it's like hard, you know, it's like, it's tough, and coming home you just want like complete coziness. So I feel that this is a total blend of our styles, but also it feels like a very city home. I think like this condo could be in New York or in London. I feel like it looks more like that until you go outside and you realize we live by the beach, you know. But yeah, it wouldn't look like this if I lived here on my own. It wouldn't look like this if he lived here on his own, but we both love the way it looks. Welcome to our kitchen. Come on in. So we have a original pocket door right here that is really nice to be able to close it off, seeing as we do also use the dining area as an office as well. This area was once the breakfast bar, which is, you know, we just did not need it. We have a dining table right there, plenty of seating all over the house. We do not need more seating, so we put up this shelving to create something that was open, but also we could display objects and create some visual interest there.
And as we mentioned, there were upper cabinets before that came down actually most of the way. So it really blocked this area off and it was really closed. So the first thing we did was remove those to open it. And then once we had it and it was open, it still felt a little awkward on the other side. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a breakfast bar, but it's not. So we're like, what do we do with the space? Mm-hmm. And then Joshua had the idea to be like, let's put shelving there and display some things. So we did this, and it's actually one of my favorite places because we just have such cool objects up there all the time. And I'm very happy to see them when I'm sitting over there working. I'll constantly look at things, move them around.
Mm. Yeah. And everything up here is, I'm just trying to remember where we got everything. Apart from the crystals, we have some clear quartz, smoky quartz, like an ostrich egg, which we got in Arizona. Everything here is flea market or vintage finds. Like these are yak butter jars up here, which actually kind of smell insane because we have they were made the original way, which you can speak more on because I actually don't understand it. But
yeah, we recently found a whole collection of these, which we actually will be selling. Actually, I have them downstairs in our storage space, but they're vintage Tibetan yak butter jars, which they no longer use anymore because now they use ceramic or glass jars. But these are wooden, and they're really amazing. But these ones did strongly smell of the yak butter, which is kind of insane. Brian actually had him at his house for a little while, and his dog Clementine would like not stop smelling them. But they're amazing. I cleaned them out, but we have about 20 of them, and they're just actually stunning pieces. I love them so much. So these two we're gonna keep for ourselves, but we will be selling the other ones at One Good Eye. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of ovens to cook when I cook twice a year. Very important. Found this amazing cooktop that was another thing I had to have, where since we're in a condo, we don't have proper ventilation like for a hood, and I really didn't want a hood above the stove anyway. So this actually has a downdraft vent, and then it has a filter system under there, so it sucks everything down and filters out the air, which is amazing. And then as we spoke about over here, we didn't know what to do with this huge space. This was the eat-in kitchen area, and we don't need 3 eating areas. We have the dining room out there, there was the breakfast bar, and then this space. So we just added more cabinets over here for all this storage. And then we saw these hutches and we're like, that might actually be perfect. So it's actually 2 separate units. They're supposed to be on the floor, but we lifted them up, pushed them against the wall, and then my dad made this custom piece that sort of snaps over the middle to conceal where they connect. And then we put lighting behind it so it lights up the cabinets to display everything that's in there.
So we keep all of our glassware in here. We have our coffee maker, KitchenAid. So it's actually functional. We have some tableware stuff up here, which it kind of feels nice because it feels like a real shelving unit, but it is all functional. We keep all of our fruit and vegetables down here, anything that doesn't obviously need to be refrigerated. Sparkling water maker, and then under here there's more appliances and stuff right here, which we can just easily pull out and put across the counter here if we need to. And right here we found these were actually found for One Good Eye, and we brought them home. They might go one day, but we just thought, well, let's just try them. We used to have, this is where we actually had a cork board where we put ideas where we first moved here, fabrics, wallpapers, paint colors, whatever. We swatched it on here because we figured we could look at it every day and decide. And now that we are done or almost done with the renovation, we finally put something up here. So we have them there, always have some flowers. And again, another book, there's books everywhere, but it's a coffee table book that just kind of looks more like art. It's an Annie Leibovitz book with Keith Haring on the front. Yeah.
And then over here we have this little corner that we didn't know what to do with. So we were like, let's just put some cool art and more of our cookbooks over here. And what's actually kind of amazing is we were in London for a wedding, and we found this picture while we were out there, and we just fell in love with it. and we brought it back, and it just so happens that the colors in this picture we found are the exact colors of our place. So we have like the beige of the wall, the gray of the countertops, and then the red. So it just kind of fit perfectly. So we put it there. And then just more, you know, cool little stuff. I remember when Josh found this, he looked at me and he's like, should we get this? And I was like, yeah, we should just get it. It's cool. So he sits there, and then just more cookbooks. But yeah, it's just this little corner to display more stuff. We had black here because we wanted to just do like this little area of black, and we wanted to continue from here. So this area feels almost like a little bit of a separate area, which is why we also decided to paint the built-ins over there back to the same color as the wall, because they were black and then this was black and it just felt like too much. So we were like, let's do that light and just have this area be its own little separate black area. If someone's going to start something new, I mean, we got lucky, like we said, with the flooring. We did it before we moved in because that is such a tough thing, because you can't have anything in your place to have all the flooring done. So we were lucky.
Because it's hardwood.
Yeah. So it was stressful because, you know, it was taking longer than expected, and we were like, we need to move in. Luckily, we were able to stay a little bit longer on our lease at our last place so they could finish it. So that was tough. But I think, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do yourself if you're crafty. We got really lucky because my parents don't live too far from here. My dad is very talented. He helped us out with a lot. He ripped out the whole kitchen and we put it back in together. He's rewired stuff for us. He just knows all that stuff, which has been extremely helpful. Also, a lot of the stuff we did is customized IKEA. The built-ins you'll see in the dining room are IKEA that we just, you know, built into the wall. You sanded it down, lacquered it, you know, with a high gloss paint. Our closets, which are, you know, very organized, are all customized from IKEA. So it, you know, our whole kitchen.
Yeah, all of the inners of the kitchen. And I think, yeah, when starting a renovation, when we do it again, because I'm sure we will, and when I talk to anybody that I know who's going to do it again, I'm like, get your floors done. I mean, if you have hardwood, you really do need it done first, because you do need to get everything out. Get your floors done first if you can. Make that decision. I also feel like because our floors were so mismatched, we had stone. Everything is mostly open as well, by the way. So everything is open, and there was stone, blue tile, white lino, sort of an orangey hardwood, all in this one, you know, not that big of a space. So it was difficult to kind of focus, because when you would try and envision where you're going to put things, it would take you out of it. I feel like both of us have the ability to look past that, but it was hard to imagine when we were saying, oh, well, you know, a couch will go here, 2 chairs will go there, a coffee table will go here, because the floor was split in the middle. So wiping all that away and getting the floor down, everything just started to make more sense. And then I also feel, I know a lot of people, and I feel like this very easily could have happened to us, who start several things at once, and relying on a contractor, you know, it's not always great. There's a lot of unfortunate stereotypes out there, which we have had our own experience, we've had some good experiences and not some good experiences with contracted deadlines and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so us just going for it in the kitchen and the floors, when we came in here, we pretty immediately had all of our flooring done, and we had a kitchen space which had tons of storage. It felt very, very comfortable. So at least we had this sort of one area that felt good and done. Sometimes we would just sort of stand in there and eat our dinner. Maybe we haven't got anywhere to sit yet, but it's like, this feels good because it feels complete, and it feels like a real home, as opposed to if we done half of that, half of the bathroom, started everything at the same time, I think it would have been complete chaos. So we've learned to take our time and go through things slowly, even though it is incredibly frustrating because you just want to do it all. Yes,
like I said, we've lived here 2 years, and we still, you know, are having to do all the windows and sliding glass door done. That was supposed to be done already, but it got delayed, but it's in process. We still have to do the master bathroom. And like you said about contractors, one thing is over-communicate. Make sure everything is in writing, like written down what you want. And there should always be someone present with them, because sometimes they just decide to make their own decisions. and it's not
Yes.
always what you want. And then by the time you come back, they've already done it and it's too late to change it. And from the kitchen, we have this hallway that connects everything. So there's both bedrooms, there's the guest bathroom, but first we're gonna head this way, which leads into the living room.
Okay, so the hallway that connects us into our living area, and everything is pretty open. The kitchen is divided off by this wall right here, which we put a mirror in front of. So when you enter, you turn left, you have dining and kitchen, you turn right, you have all of our living space. So we decided, we initially wanted this wall to be gone, found out it was a shear wall. You know, Southern California, we need it for earthquakes, so this is kind of important. So it stays. We put our giant mirror on it. I found this lamp, which is a Tom Dixon lamp, obviously, and I found it at ABC Carpet and Home in Manhattan, probably 2017 or 18. It was sitting on the floor. Some of it is damaged because it was rolling around. It was so cheap. I had just moved to America. I had no money. I picked it up off the floor and bought it. I want to say that the cord we had to add, perhaps.
Yeah, we rewired it.
We had to rewire it, so we did a swag hook. And again, this has lived in almost everywhere we've lived together, like 5 separate places it's lived. And we kind of thought maybe it won't work in here. And then we decided that we wanted to do a feature over this little guy here. We've thrifted this table that was initially black and a little bit beat up. So we sanded it and refinished it. Displayed this statue, which is Jarrod's favorite statue.
This is my little favorite guy in the whole place. We found him in Summerlin when we were up there for a wedding, and I just saw him and absolutely fell in love with him. And it's actually kind of crazy because Josh's favorite piece that's also here in the living room, we found the same day at the same spot. And it was a place we weren't gonna go to because we just ran out of time. And Summerlin has a lot of great places to shop, especially for antique shopping. But we're like, no, we have to stop there. So on our way out, we stopped there and we found him and also Howie, who we'll show you in a little bit, which is this Dalmatian. And we had been looking for a dog like this for years. The hunt started in New York and went so on and so on. We looked online and never found the right kind of ceramic dog. Some of them were the wrong color. They had a pedestal base. Their tongue was sticking out. So Josh was actually holding River like he is now, and he almost dropped him because he was so shocked when he saw him.
Yeah.
So those were 2 pieces that we absolutely had to have. So we purchased him, we put him in the back seat belted him in, and he drove home with us from Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm. So something that I have always liked to do, we like to do, is we have a piece of artwork in our kitchen, 2 pieces from here, and stuff around the home that we buy when going to an occasion. So the artwork in the kitchen we got at my sister's wedding in London. We got it the day after, and I was like, I'm buying something today for my home 100% because I want to look at it and I want to remember when I got it, why I was there. It's such a happy memory. Of course we have photos of the day and everything like that, but I just think that's a really cool thing to do. So when we left Santa Barbara for Jarrod's cousin's wedding, and we passed this antique store, I really felt strongly we needed to go in there. And after looking for a ceramic Dalmatian specifically like this, I looked everywhere and could not find it. We went in and found that, which is my favorite piece. We found the statue in the corner, which is Jarrod's favorite piece. And we will always remember we got that the day after his cousin's wedding, and we found 2 of our favorite things.
This is our media credenza, and it's been also 3 different colors so far. It's naturally like a dark gray wood. When we had it in the Upper East Side in New York, we painted it the same color as the wall. And then here we wanted to do a little bit more texture, so we wallpapered it with grass cloth.
Grass cloth, yeah.
So it's constantly changes with the space. I'm sure it'll probably change again at some point.
Yep.
And then this is our very big TV, which Josh doesn't necessarily like. I like it. I play games. I like to use it. But we wanted to, make it not so much a TV and kind of blend in with the space. So we made this frame. Josh had the awesome idea to put these like half rounds on it and then paint it just to give it a little bit more texture. Mm-hmm. So this was a project we recently did, and we love the way it came out. And just, the TV now looks like almost like a piece of art.
Yeah. The X benches that we have right here are Jonathan Adler. Again, got them in my first year living in New York. I've always loved X benches, always, always, always. I think there was 2, if not 3 Jonathan Adler stores in Manhattan. I had just moved to America, no money. I found one on an insane discount, and I said to the person who worked there, I can't have one. We have to have 2. We're always going to want 2. If I have one, it will be so frustrating. And I couldn't afford the other one. So she actually called downtown, because I was uptown, found that the same bench, which is right here, was also on sale for like another crazy price downtown. So I, with that in my hand, went downtown, got the other one, got in a cab, probably spent as much on the cab as I should have just bought them full price. But I got both of them, and they have lived with us in 2 places in New York. Now here, I still love them so much. We've considered reupholstering them. We decided to leave them, but they're staying. They're staying forever. They also work so well as additional seating if we need it. We also have a lot of trays stored away in our kitchen. So we'll tray them and put them in front of the chairs, in front of the sofa, and we will use them to eat or whatever we need, drinks, whatever. So they're very functional.
And then we have this huge coffee table, which is just, it's a big structural piece, which I love. It was, that red wood painted the same color as the walls again. And then now we did up like in this high gloss black, which I love. And we just always display mainly our books on there. A lot of Condé Nast books, love Condé Nast. I worked there for a while, but you can never go wrong with Architectural Digest. Amy Astley is amazing. Flowers, candles. This is just a space you can come in. When friends are sitting here, they just pick things up and look at them, always rotating them in and out. So there's always new things to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some thrifted pieces on here, like this little brass jar that we put like pennies and stuff that we find in. That's from, I want to say we got it at a flea market in Pasadena.
Yes.
With a few other brass objects. I actually think we got that, and we ended up getting this little, I don't know what this is. What is it?
Oh, is that the llama?
It's a llama. We got a brass llama at the same time from the same person. I mean, we were like, where the hell are we going to put this? But Jarrod loved it, so we got it. So we always have objects that move around, and what I do is move books around, change the height, change what goes on top, because you can really change the whole color scheme of the room. You can change the way the room looks just by our books. That's kind of, again, a way that I sort of sneak color into our very not colorful home.
There's plenty of color.
There's plenty of color right here. And then these glass bookshelves, every time we have moved, these have been in 4 places, we keep thinking like, well, this is it. Because we keep thinking they're gonna break, because they are all smoked glass, and they are, anchored to the wall. They moved twice in New York, and then they moved cross country to Los Angeles, and then moved from another home in Los Angeles to this home. And we just thought there is no way all of them are gonna survive. And whenever they break, we'll know it's time. They just will not die. They keep living. So we decided that whilst we have the television on that side, we could have this sort of library situation on this side where we have books mixed with objects, again, thrifted stuff, thrifted glass from the 70s right here. We have a citrine up here, which is from Arizona, some quartz, some clear quartz down here. This is, I believe, South African, and we have a set of 3, but they're spread out around the house. So I just moved him here. He wasn't here until yesterday. And then on the bottom shelves, both sides, where you would either sit in an armchair, sit on the sofa, we have actual books. So I do like everything to be functional. And again, living in small apartments my whole life and small homes my whole life, you can't often just have something just for decoration. It has to be functional. There has to be some use to it. So you can actually sit down and grab a book if you need to.
And then going on with a theme of us changing everything out, these were at one point like a creamy white color, right? Mm-hmm. Decided we didn't want them, so swapped them out for the same chair, but now in this black boucle, which we think just works a lot better. Love them. And then behind that, we have this picture of Julie Newmar doing a Smirnoff vodka ad. And the way we decided on this artwork is our place was built in 1975. So when we were designing and thinking of what we wanted to do in the space, we were like, let's stick with 70s and do what we can to do it that way, but not stereotypical how you think of American 70s. We were like, let's think about like a really chic boutique hotel in Italy in the 70s. So that's really where a lot of the design inspiration comes from. Like the couch over there, which is this plinth sofa in a boucle fabric as well. Saw it and fell in love with it, and it was just one of the things that I'm like, I don't think I can ever get rid of that.
It's actually black and white, but looks grey just because it's so speckled. But when you look closely, it is black and white, which gives it like a really nice texture. We have a white rug, which I have wanted my entire life, which of course is completely unreasonable and not a good idea, especially when we have 2 rescue dogs, one of which is a senior. So I'm sure I don't need to explain the situations we deal with on a daily basis. I found it at a discount store, rolled it out.
It was filthy.
It was completely filthy, covered in track marks. Clearly it had been used in a showroom and people had wheeled stuff over it. Got on the floor with, an angel of a woman who worked there, who went and got some cleaner because I was like, I want to buy it. It was a lot cheaper than what it should have been, but I need to make sure I can clean it. And she sprayed a cleaner on it that had some kind of green dye in it and then dyed some of the rug green. I have, apart from my little ceramic dog, my favorite thing in this house is my Bissell carpet cleaner. And I was like, I just have full-blown belief that I can clean it. So I actually found the same material, same rug, and I found a small sample that you could buy. Came home, ketchup, hot sauce,
wine.
Oil, wine, poured it all on this little square, was able to get it white again, went straight back to the store where this was on hold and bought it. So now I have a white rug. My senior dog threw up on it the minute I brought it home, and I was like, I'm not worried, I can clean it immediately. So it's been cleaned a million times. When it dies, it will die, but I'm so happy I finally got a white rug, and it's fun to have this black on it because it really pops.
And then behind the couch, we have this really cool bench that we found. And we just use this to display, all of our Architectural Digest magazines, as well as some books underneath. So just another place, to display reading stuff. This is a home full of stuff to read. And then over here, we have this art space, which...
This is an art space, and it's also River's eating place because, this is the life he's accustomed to. So we have a pot that we got that was just, it was like a dusty grey concrete-y kind of color. So we painted that in high gloss. We have a picture light, this sort of religious figurine that we got from a thrift store. This beautiful eye actually comes from Turkey, and a Turkish client of mine, when we bought this place, said, I was looking for one, and she said, well, just hold on, I'm going to Turkey and I'm going to find you one, which I love because I'm sentimental. And I was like, oh, it'll be a gift, and I bet she could find something in Turkey that will be better than anything I can find. And she came home with this, which has this incredible gold leaf detail with flowers and color in it, and I just love it so much. So my client Muge gave that to me. Thank you very much. This we actually did very irresponsibly. We did it in our rental and we put it above our bed, which in California is just all of California. Do not put anything above your bed because, earthquakes. But we decided, because it was such a big white box of a room, we just really wanted something dark. So we were looking for something like this, and it was, everything we found was like at least $700, $800, $1,000, and we were like, well, we just want something very plain. So we went and got a canvas, painted it black, and then we used different brushes to create texture. So we actually did this ourselves, and then ordered a brass shadow frame to frame it. So we did that ourselves. So we love this little area. And when you are standing in the hallway and you walk out, it's the first thing you see. If you open the bathroom door, it's what you see. So we love that from different angles, you have these kind of different point of views. And it was a way to fill up what would have been a very difficult area to figure out what we're going to put there. The other great thing about our living space is that we have big sliding glass doors that lead out to a patio, which is always sunny, always breezy because we live near the beach, and we're always out here. We have seating, we have a ton of flowers growing, and we normally have this screen door on or just the doors open at all times. There's always the most beautiful breeze coming through here, and it brings such light throughout the whole living, dining entryway. So for our career path and for what we're doing now with One Good Eye, we actually do it with one of our neighbors. Speaking of how wonderful our street is and how wonderful our community is, our neighbor Brian, who when we were walking up and down, willing ourselves to live on this street, I met him on his front lawn. My dog River right here and his dog Clementine started playing together. We started chatting. We have been friends ever since. We see each other all the time. And we started going to the flea markets together because we found that we have this very similar interest. We love refurbishing things, upcycling things, flea market finds, driving to completely different areas, especially in Los Angeles. We're so lucky. We'll do a day in Pasadena going to antique stores, or a flea market, go to the Rose Bowl. The Long Beach flea market is incredible. So much of the stuff in this home comes from there. So that became just something that was really the foundation of our friendship. And he had so much stuff, we had so much stuff. Sometimes we trade stuff. Sometimes like, oh, this might look good in your house. Again, we have stuff that he has just given us and vice versa. And that's where the idea came that we should maybe turn this into a business. I am actually a hairdresser by trade. I started doing that at 16. I still do that. I still run that business and have a wonderful career and life doing that. And what happened a couple years ago is I had a really kind of crazy allergic reaction, and I had to go to the urgent care, and my eye swelled shut, which is terrifying. And I had to cancel all my clients, which then cancels all my money. And I was texting my neighbor Brian from the urgent care, and I said, if my eye does not open, I can't work anymore. And I said, well, I'm just going to start selling furniture and I'm going to call it One Good Eye, because I kept referring to the other eye as the good eye, even though it had only been shut for 3 hours. But I was panicking because I lost complete vision for like a day. It was so scary. And when I texted him that, he screenshotted it and he says, we are absolutely doing this. This is what we're going to do. And that is where it started. And now we have a studio space. I don't really know what you would describe it as, at a place called Urban Americana here in Long Beach, which is a space where lots of vintage dealers, found objects, new furniture as well. People have their own spaces. We have a space there. So it's kind of like our third place. We have here, he lives down the street. We cannot contain all of the stuff we're buying. We cannot. We're also buying stuff that we know we don't want in our house. We just
it's cool.
Can't turn it away. It's just too cool. So now we have this third place where we take things. It's done so well. All three of us, me, Jarrod, and Brian, have separate careers, full-time careers. So this is very much a passion project. It takes a lot of work. It's moving often very heavy furniture and objects. We do it outside of our careers and never feel resentful. Just sweating, back hurting, wrists hurting from lifting stuff. I have, as of yet, never felt bored doing it. It's so fun. And we often will trade stuff. Stuff will kind of go through our house sometimes before it ends up at One Good Eye, on our website, at the store space, wherever it goes, because we'll buy it for us. We really are shopping for us and sort of accidentally shopping for other people. And now we get requests to, could you find me something sort of like this? So we'll go try and hunt for that. We have people inquiring about us designing their spaces, which we're super interested in. But again, it's hard because this is all of our second jobs.
Yeah, I'm a digital marketer. I've done it since 2008, and I basically work from home. And it's great too, because since I work from here, you know, this is my backdrop, and I've had, you know, clients or vendors that I meet with, they see my background and they're like, hey, who did that? Could you help me with this? And I tell them, I'm like, we do this, we source this, or like, they'll ask like what new cool things I found, and I'll show them, and they're like, oh, I want that, or can you just help me out with my space? So it's really great.
The hunt is never ending, and that's really what started it. Now it is a business. I think also all three of us are creative. I'm lucky that I actually also have a creative career. Jarrod and Brian's career, they have a lot of analytical stuff going on. So I think when you're creative, you need to do something. You have to do something. And it's like, if this had not turned into a successful business, which it has, we would have done something else. We would have still done it in some capacity and just figured out where the hell are we going to put all this stuff?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we do it for us. It's us looking for cool stuff that we want.
Okay, so we're going to take you to the bedrooms, but before we get there, we're going to show you our hallway. I was very excited to have a hallway because any hallway I've ever had has been very small in apartments and rental apartments and small homes I lived in growing up. We always just had sort of like this would be the full hallway. There'd be no room to display anything. So we have the Dream, which is a full wall of storage, which was actually already here, but we redid all the doors and all the hardware. We redid the lighting. We wallpapered everything with something that really did match the color scheme. We didn't want something too bright. We did actually wallpaper it once with a red wallpaper, which we both loved, still obsessed with. I wanted it so bad. It just is not for this home. Still have rolls of it, I'll use it somewhere else. So we switched out and did something a little bit more neutral just to add some fun. You can see the hallway from almost every room in the house, and you can see almost every room in the house from the hallway. So it's really nice in rooms that are not wallpapered to look in on this. So we have like a thrifted MTV poster, old East Asian mirror that we have here, also thrifted. I want to say this is Long Beach Flea, maybe Rose Bowl. This is from Urban Americana, which is from a different dealer, which is actually where we have One Good Eye. There's been like 5 things here, and I saw this literally 3 weeks ago, and I was like, I need the Marcel Margot, just need it. Little angel baby, just cause. We have these two, which is some of our favorite art in the house. My very good friend, when we first moved here, one of the first friends I made in California, Dana, the first time we met her daughter, who I think was maybe 8 at the time.
She was 8, yes.
She just sat down, really did not know us at all, and she drew this picture of Jarrod, which is so insane because it's so something he would love. Kind of looks almost like the Gorillas artwork back in the day or something. So we made her sign it because of course I'm going to sell it if she ever becomes famous, which there's a high likelihood of. And then I made her draw me as well. So they have prized possession here because we love them, and I just couldn't believe this kid just drew us. At the end of the hallway down here we have the light fixtures are throughout, the Buster and Punch light fixtures. And we have this vintage mirror that I actually found online, drove to Orange County to pick it up from someone's garage. Again, sat in one of these cupboards, couldn't figure out where to put it. There was something else here initially. And we just decided that a mirror was needed to add a little bit of brightness because there isn't a window at the end here. Okay, so now we're leaving the hallway and we're going to go into our main bedroom. Okay, so this is our main bedroom. It's really big, really bright. It's actually way bigger than it looks because we have put storage on 2 of the walls. We wanted to do a built-in here, like a little window seat, because it gets such amazing sunlight. It's really a lovely place to sit and read, put the dogs, whatever, they sunbathe there sometimes. We have our California King, which is so lovely. We never have been able to fit anything like this in anywhere we've ever lived, so that's been pretty incredible. We have these thrifted, these were $100 for the set. and we painted them.
Same color as the walls out there.
Yeah, same colors, which is, the color is actually called wheat bread. It is our favorite color ever, and whenever we try something else, we always go back to it because it's the perfect warm, you know, not too gray, not too magnolia, not too this, not too green, which a lot of grays can feel kind of bluish or green. So it just keeps coming up all the time. So they are thrifted. These, I believe we thrifted. These mirrors are from like a department store. I just saw them. They were so cheap. I had the idea. I really wanted to put them, I really wanted to have some mirrors behind the lights just to give it some drama. With our wallpaper, which we decided to do a bit of a busier design, kept it neutral so it doesn't feel too much, it doesn't feel too heavy. It was a concern, but the room is so big and so bright, it's actually been so great. It feels like it stays on theme with the year of the condo, which is 1975. It feels like it could be in that era. With the mirrors on each side and this, I feel like it just gives enough interest because we're not putting anything above the bed. Kind of wanted to go for like a shining, you know, the rug and the carpet and the shining. We kind of wanted something like that. So when we found it, we really loved it. It also has like a grass cloth texture to it, which really feels very warm, and at nighttime it just feels so beautiful with the light shining on it. With the closet that's behind Jarrod, we decided to do like a soft closet, so it's all the same curtains and curtains that we used in the living room. When you live close to a beach and also in an older building, a lot of people deal with a lot of mold issues and stuff with their closet. So having them be so open and airy, it has been a complete life changer. All inside behind there is really, really well done, really compact built-ins that fit all of our stuff. But whilst we sit in here, when we sleep in here, sit in here, whatever, it still feels like a hotel. It doesn't feel like we have tons of closets. It actually looks like these are our only closets, which are actually for bags. And then we have some built-ins under the banquette down here, but actually both sides of the room are complete storage. And directly opposite the bed, we have our media console. We have our TV, which again, we created a frame for. Whenever we're not using it, we just leave like some artwork on there. We are TV in bed people, which I know is feng shui wrong and everything, but that's what it is. So we love that. We actually got this online super duper cheap. We thought we would get it and end up painting it, but we were able to leave the wood that it was because it just happened to work so perfectly. We've had this lady who's a Jonathan Adler piece for years and years and years. I got it in New York. And yeah, we always have a different selection of books. Jarrod's favorite designer is Rick Owens, so we have basically every book he's ever made. So we have them in here. Always have a candle burning, and we have some obsidian and clear quartz here, which we got in Colorado, I believe. And we have crystals sort of all over the home as well. My tips for people who want to start thrifting, vintage shopping, antique hunting, whatever it may be, would be, I often use my home as an example because I think when we say thrifted, or we got a table and we sanded it and painted it, or we found this, you know, in a trunk somewhere or at a flea market, people have a very preconceived idea of what that's going to look like. They think there's just going to be piles of stuff everywhere. Everything's maybe going to look very sort of earthy and beat up, and not that there's anything wrong with that, because that is 100% a look as well. And then they come here and that is not how our place looks. You know, everything is a little bit cleaner, everything sort of goes. You know, if we find even a vintage frame, we might just paint the frame the same color as the wall, just so suddenly it becomes a part of our home. So I would maybe be less fearful, pick something up, even if it maybe doesn't immediately make sense, maybe look at it and think, well, how could I change this? Especially if it's something cheap. That's really the thing, is like buying something that doesn't cost a lot of money, that you're like, even if it doesn't work and I end up re-gifting it to someone, which is the nicest thing you can do, it's not the end of the world. I understand if you buy something that's thousands and thousands of dollars, you might be like, this really has to work. But we also have mood boards, ideas, and we really got in the space and put the furniture that we already had. And then we're like, okay, what else do we need? I think also from when we lived in New York, we did not have a car, we lived in Manhattan. You cannot drive around in a van necessarily and pick up a bed and pick up a sofa and pick up a coffee table and stuff like that. A lot of the furniture we actually have comes from stores, CB2, West Elm, Restoration Hardware, places like that, because we needed stuff that could be delivered in a box and brought up in an elevator, and hopefully like with a couple of people to help bring it in, because we lived on the 19th floor, we lived on the 15th floor at one time, we lived in a walk-up at one time, so it's just a nightmare. So we had them pieces that we put in, which maybe lack a little bit of warmth sometimes, and then we sprinkled all of our finds all on top of that. And that really, really worked for us, especially in a condo setting. And now as years go by, we're slowly trading out things, like maybe a media console trades out because we find a vintage one and we now have the ability to take it.
And like you said, if you see something and you like it, but it's not perfect, or you don't think it's going to perfectly work in the space unless it's a different color, don't be afraid to paint it. I mean, it needs to work for you and make it work for you. Like for example, this table, we thrifted this in New York, and it was like a redwood, and it just was like... We
did get this in New York, which was really hard.
Yeah.
It's actually been 3 colors. It was the color we got it as. We painted it light when we lived on the Upper East Side.
The same color as these walls.
Same color as the walls. And then when we came here, we have a white rug, light walls, lots of light coming in from our terrace, and so we painted it black.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things we find, and we'll just be like, okay, let's paint it, or let's change it somehow.
Yeah, I think also you need to, if you were at a flea market, if you were at an antique mall or anything like that, they are often very cluttered and crowded. They have to be. They're trying to sell stuff quickly. They're not curating stuff as they would, in a store at the mall. So I think it's a really good idea to pick things up, walk away from the clutter, maybe just find a surface, even the counter at whatever store you may be at or whatever, and put it down and look at it on its own. Sometimes take out your phone camera, take a picture. See how it reads on camera, because when stuff is laying down in a pile, that takes real vision to figure out how it's going to look on your wall. So yeah, I'm like, go in there, pick it up, get it out. Okay, so from the hallway, we're now going to come into our guest bedroom.
So this is, we want to make a really comfortable space because, we have a lot of people staying with us, especially with Josh being from London. We have family and friends coming from out there. We have, a really close friend that lives in Switzerland. So when they come, we just want like a really nice space for them to stay in. This is the same color, that we've done throughout the place. As we mentioned, we really love that color. So that was that. These sconces are some of our favorites. We bought them when we were in New York. They're like basically kind of like a moon. So they kind of, you can mimic the eclipse or the full...
the phases of the moon.
The phases of the moon, that's what I meant to say.
To decide how much light you want, like if you're reading on this side. So we really do love them. We also have... We initially wanted a picture of like Jane Fonda Barbarella. And whilst looking for it, I actually found this, I want to say on Etsy. So she's here, love her. And we have a little dresser here, which people can use when they're staying here. We put linens in there, towels, and they could put whatever they're using. These 3 brass sort of objects on the wall are actually 3 paperweights that I bought with this idea. So we just bought them, punched holes in the back, and created like a wall object out of them.
And then, of course, after we found Howie, who is the Dalmatian in the living room, we online found Huey, who is the all-white dog. And so when we saw him, he was a decent price, and we're like, okay, we have to have him. So now we have Howie and Huey.
Yes, looking for years and years and years for this Dalmatian, less than a year after finding him, and having to bargain my way down because we couldn't really afford him. This comes up on actually Facebook Marketplace. I had to drive an hour inland in California, picked him up from the back of someone's truck. He was sitting under a bunch of stuff. He's damaged on the back, but I could not believe it. It's the exact same dog, but all in white. So we got him, he's going in the guest room. We have like a little seating area here, which to be honest, we normally, when people come, take all this off, take the pillow off, and people will throw their cases on there or something like that. But having that is really lovely. We have a table, which was actually a collaboration. I think it was Crate and Barrel and Athena Caldrone, I think her name is, which we put this light on top of. The blinds are just really easy pull down. We have them sort of all over the home, and when this is shut, it really feels like a little hotel room escape. It's very, very, very cozy in here. And then all against this wall, this is our television. Obviously, we created a frame for it. It's not the frame TV. We made the frame by hand just because we were like, well, we have it, we're just gonna do it. Painted it the same color as the wall. And then almost all of this is thrifted. My friend Kayla drew this for me. So I love that. We have a little eye here, a gut. Yeah, all of this is thrifted. This is Long Beach Flea Market. Actually, I got this guy off Etsy. I got this at like a Goodwill. It's Godspell, an old musical. This is the cover of their album. And then some of these two things on the floor were actually given to us by our co-founder of One Good Eye, because he was like, do you want to try them in your house first? So we're really enjoying that. And a little dressing mirror, and of course a Los Angeles sign, because Long Beach is Los Angeles County, which everybody seems to get wrong. So on our guest bed, this was actually originally our bed. Again, lots of stuff has had several lives in our house. We're not big weighers of furniture. So this was our bed, which has now become our guest bed. And it's just a gray velvet bed, which we had a matching footstool with. We had like a ton of matching stuff with it. So what we do now is blankets and stuff we have around the house we'll throw over the headboard just to create something interesting and to create a bit of pattern. We did have wallpaper in here, but took it down. And again, we're not going to put anything up here because we don't want anything falling on anyone's head. So that's what we do just when we want to add something a bit more interesting. We have a bunch of rugs, blankets, and we'll just use them and tuck them behind the headboard. What I love about this home that we live in, it feels so peaceful. We have two dogs. One of them is on my lap. One of them is an old lady sleeping behind me. They are so happy. They love going out on the terrace and sunbathing. They love the location that we live in. We can walk them on our beautiful street. We can walk down to the beach. The location really is special because I've lived in the UK, I've lived in New York, two places where there's public transportation. You know, you can get trains, buses all over London. That's how you live. Same way in New York, we lived in Manhattan. We could walk to most things. If not, it was a quick train ride away. When we moved to Los Angeles, everybody in New York and back home in London were, you know, well, you know, you're gonna have to drive everywhere. You know there's nothing. You can't walk to anything there. And it was freaking us out a little bit because we have become so accustomed to that. So finding a location where we can walk to any kind of food you can think of, we can walk there. We could drive there in a couple of minutes, but it's Southern California, so we walk. We can walk to coffee, we could run all of our errands, walk to the beach, walk along beautiful streets. There is greenery everywhere. Another thing that lots of people said to me, you know, oh, it's just, you're gonna miss the greenery and the flowers in New York. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really am. And we live somewhere where people take such beautiful care of their front yards. There's all kinds of flowers and everything growing, trees everywhere, palm trees, obviously. The location really, really is special, and it has set a bar that it would be something really good is gonna have to come along to take us out of this place, because we have such good community. We have the best neighbors. I have never known my neighbors in this way, ever. You know, in London, you do not speak to your neighbors as a sort of rule a lot of the time because, you know, why are you talking to me? And here, you know, like I said, I met my neighbor Brian on the street, who became such a good friend and now a business partner. We go on walks every day and we see the same dogs, have the same conversations. We're often standing on someone's front lawn just chatting for 30 minutes on our way to walk to dinner. I've never had that before. And I know that all of Los Angeles is gorgeous, but a lot of people that I know who live here do not have that. So that's my favorite thing about where we live.
Yeah. I have to say, I love that it was a project for the both of us, to be fully involved with. You know, like I said, we made mood boards. We used to have a big bulletin board in the kitchen that's no longer there, but we'd pin the wallpaper, you know, pictures of what we wanted, you know, down to every last detail. If you look at the outlets and like the switches, you know, those are some of my favorite things. They're these beautiful brass fixtures from Buster and Punch that I saw, and I was like, I have to have these. But you know, we sat and like spent, you know, hours and hours just like sitting together, going through all of that. And then it was like a great learning experience. It was great for my dad to be here all the time, and like he really leaned in and wanted to teach me everything. And even though like I would roll my eyes because I'm like, I don't want to learn this, I just want it done. You know, he showed me that, you know, oh, this isn't wired correctly. We should switch out all the wiring for this gauge versus this gauge, or we can't do this in the ceiling because of X, Y, and Z, or we have to move this. And there's even like a little plaque we put down there. That's why I just looked at it. But as we were cutting into the wall, there happened to be a water line right there, which wasn't even marked, and we almost cut through a water line. So now we put like a little brass plaque. But it was, you know, great to learn, because as we move to, you know, our next space or do it, I know so much of it now that will really come in handy.
Yeah, it feels like I feel like I've done like a college class or something. I really do.
All right, and then here we have the guest bathroom, which has been completely redone. It was in a terrible state when we found it. It was actually a shockingly bright, like terrible blue, with the old tile, you know, countertop. It had an very old tub with the shower head. So we completely pulled everything out, and we wanted to just keep this one simple. So, you know, we went with this, like, you know, nice, you know, checkerboard, or not checkerboard, like, you know, square tile on the floor that's a white and gray, and continued it into the shower, and then did the same color of tile but in a different shape along the walls, and then really framed in the shower. And what we originally wanted to do was do actually a full frame, but unfortunately the way the ceiling is above the ceiling is on the inside, we couldn't do that. So our designer just did these little scallop tops to like close it off. Nice brass hardware. You know, we love a good shower. We wanted to feel almost like a spa. So, you know, the big rainfall shower head with the nice handheld. Did a nice little niche over here, and we love products. We have a lot of stuff. You can never have enough space. So we wanted a huge niche. So he did a really tall one for us. And then on this wall, you know, these nice little knurled brass, which kind of tie back to the knobs that we have for all the light fixtures. Put those up there for our towels and robes. And then we just wanted to do a nice little vanity, nothing too large that took up too much space. Once again, this is the guest bathroom, so you don't need too much storage down there. Found this nice, beautiful light from Callie Worsler. This is another thing we found at Urban Americana a long time ago before we had this space. So found that, decided, you know, put him right above the toilet. This beautiful brass mirror that matches everything else. We got this at, you know, Restoration. And then over here was the original medicine cabinet. And rather than completely get rid of it, what we did was just, you know, make it almost like a little built-in niche to host more products. So for the shower, we initially wanted to, you know, frame it in and make it its own little space. So this was initially supposed to be like a nice, big, thick frame, which would also hide the light above the shower. Unfortunately, our contractor couldn't make that happen. So we had to go with those little scalloped edges on the end, which we still love. It looks great, but just another problem that you run into when you live in a condo building. Not everything can be done as you want it. To me, what makes a house a home, I think of my home as my recharging station. I like to know when I come home, I feel that. Like, I'm like, this is where I go, where I just need to like zen out and relax and get my energy back. And so no matter what, wherever we lived, even if we were renting, we would do that. We would paint all the walls. We would change what we could about it because we were like, this needs to feel like our space. And we, you know, we'd have friends that come over and be like, I can't believe you do that. You're not going to get your deposit back. But it's like, I need to feel that when I walk in. I need to walk in and be like, this is my space. I am so comfortable here. This is just where I feel completely me. And so that's what makes my house my home.
Your deposit is your creative license fee, is really how I feel. It's like, you know, I don't care, I gotta live here. To me, what makes a house a home is our dogs. You gotta rescue a dog or a pet. You know, we have 2 rescue dogs, one of them's here, one of them's down there. You gotta rescue some dogs, gotta rescue a pet. Our house feels like it has so much life because of them. Constantly moving things around, constantly change it. We have books everywhere. We have more books in this house than we have anything else. Coffee table books, art books, interior books, books about artists, novels, non-fiction, fiction books, just everywhere. And having them everywhere and moving them around all the time, it feels like, you know, books are art. The cover of a book is beautiful, colorful, beautiful photography. We move them around all the time and it just feels like an ever-evolving thing for us. Throughout the year, our home will look the same, but there'll be subtle changes, you know, every few months that we go on. And yeah, these dogs are everywhere.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.